Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. 16 after 8 o'clock. And this, of course, is News and Views on Salam Media. We're crossing over to Sudan and we'll be talking with Mutasim Obaid. He's a Sudanese economic and political analyst, and we're going to be talking to him about the turn of events in his part of the world. We understand that Sudan's army released a statement on Saturday claiming that it had entered the central city of Wad Madani and was pushing out its paramilitary rivals, the Rapid Support Forces known as RSF, a step which, if completed successfully, would be its biggest gain in nearly 2 years of war. Assalamu alaikum to you, dear brother. Welcome to the program. And do tell us now, what does this mean for the people of Sudan, for the military, and for the RSF?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks for having me. Well, I must say first, rest in peace, martyrs. People of Sudan are very happy. They welcome this very pleasant news, I would say. Everywhere, every part in Sudan, they're celebrating the victory of SAF, retrieving Wad Madani, the second largest city in Sudan, is a strategic city, and it has a very significant importance. Sudanese army entered into Wad Madani January 11th, marks a critical turning point in the fight to restore law and order in Sudan. And Wad Madani, as I mentioned, is a strategic city, has long been refugee and civilian fleeing RSF violence from Khartoum to Wad Madani. And unfortunately, 1 year back, RSF militia did what it did in Wad Madani. People had to flee again to SAF safe zones. This advancement demonstrates the Army's growing strength and commitment to protecting Sudanese sovereignty, and it sends clear message to the RSF militia and its allies internationally that their destabilizing influence is being countered decisively, and the Army's presence is a step forward to reclaiming national unity and ending the RSF, the age of terror.
So, Mutasim, there's some worrisome comments by Mohammed Hamdan, the leader of the RSF. In a speech that he shared on Telegram, he has insisted that the battle was not over as yet. He goes on to say, and I quote, "We lost Wad Madani, but we will reclaim it," he says. "People just need to regroup, reorganize, and reassess themselves." The other worrying statement that he has made as well is that he has attributed the defeat to what he describes as the Sudanese army's reliance on Iranian drones and fighters from Ethiopia's Tigray region. So, how do you respond to those comments by Mohammed Hamdan?
Well, militia actually claimed lots of things. I would say the whole world, the media, the machine, I would call it, but that's isn't true. The 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 army, the military, actually showed. I would say never entered the place, liberated the place, and just RSF claimed it back. That has never happened since the beginning of the war. That never happened. The SAF actually has always been working uh, based on strategies, plans, steady moves, slow but for sure. That's what became trending from Burhan.
Mm.
Is rather slow, but for sure. And people of Sudan paid a significant price, their lives, RSF looting, their life saving, the displacement of millions of people. But everything has a price, and the Sudanese were very patient. And I speak on behalf of myself, and I can say most of the Sudanese would agree to that as well. That we all stand behind the SAF, since it's the official party that is defending the Sudanese land and the dignity of the Sudani uh, people.
I've come across a report by Reuters, and they are saying that, and I quote, they found that dozens of planes had flown from the UAE to Shad, likely to resupply the RSF in Shad. However, the UAE is denying these accusations, but the United Nations panel of experts believes that this is very credible. Are you worried about these type of statements that are being made, and do you believe there's any truth in it?
Definitely. Uh, RSF always have used the humanitarian organizations. It has been documented. Uh, Major news outlets like Al Jazeera talked about this, Al Arabiya, even the Western news media also talked about this. It's a fact. They've used the cargoes to hide, to smuggle actually the weapons to make it through Sudan from Chad. That's what the Sudanese government agreed to uh, facilitate the entrance of humanitarian aid to the people that are suffering from the mishaps, the militia doings in the region. So everybody, I imagine everybody knows that the militia has used this. Red Crescent, in particular, uh, Doctors Without Borders came out forward. They spoke about this. Many others, when I say many others, I mean organizations like UN, Doctors Without Borders, came forward and they emphasized that RSF are even looting the aids are targeted to civilians, and they're using it as a cover up for their operation and to smuggle weapons that has been actually, uh, I would say, basically financed or uh, in a turn of deals like gold with the UAE. Everybody knows the role of GCC countries, MENA region, in the war in Sudan, and how the UAE is playing a key role to get the gold smuggled in catch of weapons, and that comes with a cover-up operation, uh, like flights taking over to Ethiopia, to Uganda, and then making it finally to Chad. Uh, that has developed to even work the drones, sophisticated drones from Chad the past 2 months. News has been talking about this. Officials have been talking about this. Uh, it's what it is.
Okay, so we also know, according to all of the reports we have come across, sadly, Al Ghazira state, located in the center of the country and south of the capital Khartoum, has seen some of the RSF's bloodiest attacks on civilians, as well as the burning of fields, looting of hospitals and markets, and flooding of irrigation ditches. The army has responded. They've stepped up their campaign to retake El Ghazira in recent months after retaking Sennar state in the south, including by increasing airstrikes that have often hit civilians. So, this is the current situation we're looking at. We also understand that the army on Saturday continued its operation in the city of Bahri, part of the greater capital, where it has also made advances in recent months. How do you believe all this is now going to play out? And do you see a light at the end of the tunnel? Do you believe that the army is going to succeed and that they will annihilate the RSF?
Well, the RSF militia actions have turned the Al Jazeera state and with Medini into epic centers of suffering, uh, mass massacre. Uh, Civilians are bearing the burned and targeted attacks on infrastructure, schools, and hospitals. Um, that tactics deliberately employed by the RSF to create chaos. And I think this is the major plan here because the RSF was talking about initiating a government with the civilian political party that they should rule and divide Sudan. But wherever the RSF went, it creates death. It never created lives, and proof of that, people always flee the scene from wherever the RSF makes it. That's where death just comes. There is no life, no hospitals, uh, no food, no nothing. Actually, you could tell that there is a sign of life. Uh, Also, major news talking about famine and displacement. Uh, they say the two warring parties, but that's incorrect. It's actually a direct result of RSF aggression as they loot aid supplies, as I demonstrated, and destroy the livelihoods. The army, on the other hand, is focused on restoring stability and reopening humanitarian corridors. The international community must urgently step up uh, to support the Sudanese army and to ensure aid reaches those in need. And regarding seeing the a light at the end of the tunnel, I believe so. All Sudanese people strongly believe that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that is actually very sooner than we even anticipated. Uh, Civilians don't know the military strategy. Therefore, we've always been impatient that we wanted to claim back our land. But with Medini liberation, just actually proved that the military has been doing what it does best, and this is something would be schooled at some point of time. Yes, what Medani has brought a lot of cheering up to the community. Everyone is happy. We're very optimistic. We're actually seeing the light of the tunnel as we speak now. The Ajayli refinery, which is another strategic area that is between Al Jazeera and Khartoum, is being actually is all is not seized yet, but army is around the area, closing up on RSF, and there is no way out. And in Khartoum this morning, there is some progresses that Arwad building, and these people who lives in Khartoum knows this. Arwad building has been uh, filled with snipers from Ethiopia, from mercenaries from other parts of the world. That their only one mission is to keep the SAF from progressing. And just this morning, like an hour ago or two, uh, it has been liberated by the SAF, and this is another great sign that Khartoum is actually leaning towards uh, the liberation of the historic city and former capital.
I'd like to make a comment, and then my final question to you this morning. What I find very disconcerting is the tactics that was being used by the RSF. I was quite shocked, very similar to the genocide being perpetrated by the Israelis on the Palestinians, where they've been burning fields, looting of hospitals and markets, and flooding of irrigation ditches. And that goes directly against the tenets of Islam. This is dirty tactics as far as warfare is concerned, and I didn't expect it. From a majority Muslim country. But be that as it may, that's my personal comments and observations. I will allow you to comment on that. And let me close off by asking the final question. We do understand that the RSF controls most of the west of the country, where it has been fighting the army. We understand its last stronghold in the Darfur region. Both forces are actively fighting over the White Nile state in the south of the country. How do you believe that is going to play out? Your thoughts, and then we'll wrap up.
Of course. Well, so you see the sad truth about Gaza as Muslims. We we would love the Arab community to actually play more role in this, other than only condemning the doing of the IDF. Um, this is relevant to what's going on in Sudan. Actually, in my point of view, I think it's a lot worse, because if we're talking numbers, the other day, I mean, it's 4 days ago, the New Yorker and I think uh, Washington Post as well. They posted that this article talking about the numbers of Sudanese killed in this war since April 23. That is exceeding 150,000 people. And you know,
Sure.
in a country like Sudan, it's very hard to actually count this tragedy. Uh, the numbers might be far beyond 150K, and it's the biggest displacement of kids and people in general. It's the numbers are 11 millions inside Sudan and outside of Sudan. Neighboring countries should also play a positive role in that. I think the only country that actually played a role in supporting the SAF, I wouldn't say the only, but Eritrea had this very positive image in this within, I mean, in the Sudanese people uh, uh, image. Other than that, I think Egypt, but it came very late and at a Sudanese expense. Uh, it, like if you want to make it to Egypt, you have to pay $3,000 just to pass the security clearance. So it's kind of business. There's no way that Egypt doesn't know the smuggling that is going on in the borders, which makes it more difficult for Sudanese people to live to have a peaceful life. Uh, so uh, when you say Israel, I think it's also relative of because of the bigger plans of Israel to expand to from Dijlan al-Frat to River Nile. Uh, and Egypt should have played more significant role because this is homeland security concern for Egypt, and they're getting millions from humanitarian organizations for those refugees, which no refugee, I can assure you, receive the money they claim the government official claim they spent on Sudanese refugees. Um, and
Okay,
Sudan.
Mutasim, I'm sorry, but we've got to leave it there. I am running out of time, but thank you indeed for your input. It was a lovely interview. You've given us quite an overview on what exactly is going down there. We hope and pray, inshallah, that this madness comes to an end. Jazakallah so much for your time and insights. Assalamu alaikum to you.
Of course, alaikum salam. Thank you.
That was Mutasim Obaid, Sudanese economist and political analyst, talking to us about the situation playing out in Sudan between the RSF and the army. Still to come. Well, rather, I hope we do have our next guest standing by, and that, of course, is Dr. Ofer Kassif. He is a lifelong anti-Zionist activist, a vocal advocate for Palestinian rights, and a Knesset member since 2019, representing the party called Hadash. So please stay with us.